Dan Reynolds, lead singer for Imagine Dragons, thank you so much for being part of Three Questions today.
Well, thank you for having me.
The Love Loud Festival is coming up August 26th in Orem, Utah. It is the center of the perhaps most politically conservative county in the country and right in the very heart of the county that probably has the biggest Mormon population per capita of anywhere in the world. What are you hoping to accomplish with the Love Loud Festival?
Oh man, so many things. Really the goal, my first and foremost goal, was to create a safe environment that was all-inclusive for everyone of all walks of lives, religion, politics aside, everyone coming together to show support and love for our LGBTQ youth. It can be an extremely difficult path for a child who is LGBTQ to come out to their parents, especially within the walls of faith. That can be difficult, and there's difficult conversations to be had. And so, for me, first and foremost, I think that change and a safe environment comes with good, respectful, loving dialogue. No one attacking anyone, no one yelling at each other, but listening to our youth, listening to what they need. So that was the birth of the idea, and then it's taken shape over these couple months to bring in some music, bring in some food, and then we have a lot of guest appearances who are going to speak to us and help us to learn how to be more loving and accepting to our LGBTQ youth.
The LDS Church has come out and endorsed and is applauding this whole Love Loud Festival. What does it mean? What kind of message does that send in light of the church's positions on gay marriage and the other gay issues? What kind of a message does that send in this case?
I think it's fantastic. For me, like I said from the beginning, our goal was to be all-inclusive for all sides. Our partners are GLAD, the Trevor Project, and Circle Together, Stand for Kind. So local and national charities that do a lot of work in the LGBTQ community, lots of allies. And then to have the church say, hey, we applaud this. We, in fact, encourage our members to go out to this. That, to me, is a resounding show of love and progress in a lot of beautiful ways. And it was fantastic. It was unexpected in a lot of ways, if I were to be honest with you. And but I am thrilled.
So you did not approach the church for an endorsement on this at all? Tell me how it came about. How did this endorsement come about? I've been working with, or I've been having some conversations with Tom Christofferson, who is a brother of Todd Christofferson. He is gay, and we've been having a lot of conversations together about his life and how he balances church and being gay and forging the path that he has. And he's courageous, he's wonderful, loving. I love Tom. And he reached out to me and told me that the church wanted to speak with me, and I got on the phone and we had a couple conversations. I told them what Love Loud was looking to do. They said, how can we help? And can we make a statement of support? And I said, yeah, that'd be fantastic. And then they put out this statement that I just saw today. So when they told you that they wanted to help and asked you what they could do to help, did you kind of take a deep breath and go, whoa?
Yeah, I think, I don't want to say I was totally blown away, because I think that the church has really made some great statements and movements in the last couple of years of expressing wanting to show love for our LGBTQ youth. There's also been some very divisive moments that have happened within the church, between the church and their LGBTQ members. So it's been a very kind of hot issue in a lot of ways. For a lot of my friends who are LGBTQ, and some of which are Mormons, it's been trying, to say the least. But to have the church reach out and to make a statement for this event, I think is going to go a long way in to our LGBTQ youth and to my friends who are directly involved in that community.
With the LDS Church's endorsement of the Love Loud Festival, it is clear, not only that, but the other efforts the church is making, that they are reaching out to members that are LGBTQ and to others. Where is the church, in regard to gay issues, where is the church getting it right, in your opinion, and where is it getting it wrong?
You know, I have my own personal beliefs that I have stated pretty clearly over the last few months especially. I think that if parents were to tell their child, you should live a life void of any loving, committed relationship, that is an overwhelmingly sad and depressing life to tell your child to lead, and I think dangerous. So, you know, my own personal view goes with the statistics that I've seen, which is from the Family Acceptance Project, that a child is 8 times more likely to commit suicide, an LGBTQ child, when not accepted in the home or community, 3 times more likely for risky drug use. Based on those statistics, I think that it is imperative that families embrace their children and accept them, and especially when a child is in a vulnerable position and comes to the parent and says, listen, I'm gay, I think that, you know, that is an essential moment that the parent shows an overwhelming love and acceptance to that child. And if they don't, I think that that is, you know, the statistics show that that can be very harmful. So in length, from my own personal views, you know, I probably, in fact, I don't probably, I think that telling your child that it's a sin to be gay or to act upon, you know, their gay inclinations or however people want to put it, I think that that's very harmful, and I'm not in agreement with that. But with that being said, you know, to have the church take a step and say, we need to love and accept our youth, we need to love them for who they are, that is beautiful, and I am ecstatic about that, and optimistic, and glad to have something that is so inclusive for all sides.
In the late 1990s, I had the opportunity to sit down with LDS Church President Gordon B. Hinckley, and at that time, gay issues were starting to gain traction and momentum in regard to how the church approaches gay issues. I asked him in that interview if there would come a day when the church would change its views in regard to gay people and being gay. And it was couched in more of a doctrinal kind of way. And in talking doctrine, he said, how can we change? We can't change. He said, but we love these people. To me, and I don't know in your mind, I'm curious to know if you see the church between kind of a rock and a hard place doctrinally when it comes to gay issues. Yes, all of this progress can be made,
right,
but it is not going to move doctrinally.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is I can't speak for the church. I don't know where they will be in 10 years, where they will be in 20 years, where they'll be tomorrow. I know that today they made an endorsement for an LGBTQ festival. That to me is beautiful and wonderful. That's what I'm focused on right now. As to where they will be in the future, whether they're going to change or not, I am not the leadership of the church, and so I can't speak on behalf of them. Do I hope? Well, of course I hope. Does a lot of my LGBTQ friends and family hope? I think so. Has the church had policy changes in the past? It has. It was, you know, so that's all I can say about that.
Now, you grew up in an LDS family, good-sized family. You're the 7th of 9 children. You served a mission. You went to BYU for a while. And despite the church's, your separation in terms of your views on the gay issues with the church, there are many others who have been in a similar position as you who no longer identify as a Latter-day Saint, but you still do. Why is that?
There's a lot of things about Mormonism that I love. Not only has it been my religion since I was young, but it's also my culture. I think Mormonism is very all-encompassing in a lot of ways. I love the family aspects of Mormonism. I love the idea of a family being together and united for eternity. I love the idea of a God that hopefully is loving and kind and not fear-mongering and scary. I like a lot of the teachings of Jesus Christ. I think a lot of his teachings were profound and beautiful. As far as a lot of doctrinal things, I am a unique Mormon. I have my own personal views as to those things, and I hope that I would be entitled to have those own personal views, some of which we've already talked about. But with that being said, I choose to hang on to Mormonism right now because that's what I want in my life. Where will I be in 10 years? Who knows? Where will anybody else be in 10 years, you know? I think my faith is based on hope in a lot of ways. There are many days I could tell you that I don't even believe that there is a God. But there are days that I hope there's a God. And there are days, and people say hope is faith, you know? So what is faith? You know, I'll leave that to other people to define how faithful I am, or, you know, argue over their doctrine, but that's not how I want to spend my life. I've spent far too many years of my life worrying about specifics and nitty-gritties. I am here and now. What change can I make in the world? What do I do with the voice that I've been given? What message do I want to leave behind to my children when I go? I have 3 daughters. 2 4-month-old daughters, twins, and a 4-year-old. And for me, when I die, I don't want them to say, our dad sung Radioactive. You know what I mean? Like, that is, if that comes out of their mouth, I failed. For me, music is great, but it's a stepping stone to hopefully be able to do things that my heart deems to be good. Is it what other people are going to deem to be good? I can't speak for other people, but I have to follow my heart, and this is where it's brought me. And yeah, so Mormonism is important to me, and there's a lot of values. I like living healthy. There's different things that I really value in Mormonism. And like I said, a lot of my friends and family are Mormon. So yeah, I don't know if that gives you the exact answer you want, but in the short time I have with you, hopefully that gives you a little bit.
Imagine Dragons has come a long way since it won the Battle of the Bands at BYU in 2009 or whatever year that was. When you look back, it must seem surreal to you what's happened.
It is surreal. I think that I feel like the luckiest person in the world. I love music. I don't know where I'd be without it. I'd be on the street probably, because this is all I wanted to do. And so it was either be a broke musician or be able to support myself being a musician. And I happened to get lucky enough to be able to support myself and my family doing what I love. So yeah, every day I feel like I try to remind myself of that. I try to get on stage, and when it becomes monotonous, to take a step back and take time away from the road, which I just did, to be able to make it fresh again in my mind, to really be able to sing from a personal place and for it all to be meaningful. And when it's not meaningful anymore, then I'll quit and I'll go do something else. Yeah.
You recently talked about how you have stayed away mostly from writing love songs. Yeah. Number one, why is that? And number two, if you could categorize what kind of songs you do write, how would you categorize that?
I wrote a lot of love songs on this new record, so this was to be honest with you, I was in a really unhealthy place for many years of the beginning of this band. I dealt with a deep, deep state of depression where everything was gray for me for a long time and numb, and I sought help. I met with therapists and really talked through a lot of issues and got to a healthy place. But when you're in a really depressed state, you happen to write songs about depression, you know, and I was very angsty and angry about things and going through a faith crisis and going through, my life had just flipped upside down, and suddenly I was dealing with these things of fame, which it bummed me out in a lot of ways. And so that's what I sang about, and I didn't have the clarity of mind to actually see through to my heart and sing about love. I wasn't going to force a love song, because then it'd just be cheesy. But now, because I've become very honest, and part of this process of becoming honest is doing things like this and having these discussions with you that I wouldn't have had a couple years back, because I'm very guarded, and this wasn't the life that I knew that I would have when I was younger and was guarded. And so now you have to open up a little bit. But now I'm in a place where love is wonderful to me, and it's thrilling, and it came from a real place, and so there's love songs on the new record. Yeah. Mm.
In the video for your big hit Believer, Dolph Lundgren is punching you in the face. Was he really punching you?
Yeah.
And did you get hurt?
Yeah, so we did 2 types of shots. So we did, I can't even remember I can't think of the name, but it's like you're boxing, but you're not hitting each other. It's like ghost boxing or something. There's some official term for it.
Shadowboxing?
Shadow boxing. Thank
Okay.
you. Did you box at all or something?
No.
You just are
No.
a normal, educated human being. Sorry, I'm a stupid musician. So we
Not
did,
at all.
yeah, we shot some shadow boxing, and then we also did a thing where I just stood in place, and Dolph punched me in the face about 20 times. But he did, he started, at a certain heaviness of a punch, and then he got harder and harder until it got to a point where I said, okay, that was,
Stop.
yeah, my knees started to buckle, and I thought, okay, we've probably captured enough, real impactful hits, because we wanted that visceral nature to the video. And
It's hard to fake the slow-mo,
Yeah.
if you're not really getting hit,
exactly. And I've always been one of those people who, when I watch those action scenes, you're always like, oh, that's obviously fake. So for me, I was like, we had to have some real punches. So he punched me quite a few times, and then he had to actually end up leaving, and the next day my brother was like, hey, who's my manager, he's like, we didn't get enough of those shots, so then my brother punched me in the face probably 10 times.
How much satisfaction did that bring him?
Probably a lot. And the thing is, his hurt more, not because he was better, but because he was so terrible with his punches. Dolph could tell me where he was going to punch me, and that's where he was going to punch me. My brother would say, listen, I'm going to punch you right here. And then he'd catch me in the nose.
No.
And so that was...
And you're sure that wasn't on purpose?
It was probably on purpose. He's my manager, too, so, I'm sure he has a lot of aggression throughout the years.
Imagine Dragons' third album, and it's hard to believe that you've only had 3 albums so far, but Evolve was released in June of this year and came out at number 5 on the Billboard 200 list. And you've got 3 really powerful singles on that album, but the critics are less than impressed with it.
Yeah.
Does that bother you?
I think I've kind of gotten used to critics being very mixed with Imagine Dragons, and I understand, I sing from an angsty place and a theatrical place, I think, to some, but for me it's real, and every single word that I've ever written is real to me, and it's the art that I intend to create, and some people are going to love it and some people are going to hate it, and I don't know. I think that early on in my career, that was heavy for me. That was hard to have the voices of the world, whether it was people who were said that they hated it or they loved it, or critics, hate or love. For me, I've gotten to a point now in my life where I'm okay with that's just part of being an artist. And as long as I'm creating something that's honest for me, then I'm able to just own it, and I love it. I love the music we create. I think that every song I've ever created I can stand behind and feel proud of. So, yeah.
In your acceptance speech at the Trevor Awards in June, you said you still believe in Mormons and Orthodox community, but you believe we can all be, I'm quoting here, but you believe that we can all be educated on the matter of being gay in this case to create positive change. In your mind, what does that positive change look like?
I think positive change starts first and foremost with becoming aware there is a problem. There's a lot of people who, like I said, they're not affected by anything in the LGBTQ community. It doesn't relate to their life, or they don't have anybody who's close to them who's LGBTQ.
It doesn't register.
Right. So for those people, I think the first step is let's all acknowledge that there are people over here that are hurting and suffering because we are doing nothing and we're being pacifists. So let's all acknowledge that first of all, and then let's give them a voice to talk to us about the things that we can do better. As far as what can we do better, well, there's a lot we could do. First of all, we could say that to be gay is not abnormal or wrong or less than, but it is in fact completely normal and unchangeable and beautiful and perfect. That's a first step, to be able to say those things. Now, is everybody at that point? No. But in my opinion, until we can say that to our children, they will feel damaged and they will feel less than. And so my goal is to try to transmit that message to them and show that there are a lot of people who also have that message. And on top of that, people who maybe see differently than that and say, I love you, you're great, but I have to say this is still a sin, or things like that. How can they show their love still? That's up to them to show. Do they want to come out and show their love in the way that that person needs to show their love, that feels right to them, that Jesus would have taught them to do? I would hope so. And that's what Love Loud is about, is everybody coming out and showing their love and acceptance. And then over time, as we become educated together, as we learn, hopefully the community will become safer and kinder. And, you know, like I said from the beginning, I don't intend to change people's minds. I don't intend to do anything. What I'm going to do is give a platform to people who are able to do that, who are more educated at that, to our LGBTQ youth who don't have a voice, who or are afraid to voice their thoughts because of what others will think. I want to empower them and give them a platform and a stage to stand up and sing their beautiful choruses of equality, or what they need to the world, and for the world hopefully to receive it with open arms and show them the love that I know they can. I know my Mormon community, at least, I can speak on behalf of them. There's tons of fantastic, wonderful, loving, accepting people, and they're in a tough spot where they have their religion. And so, you know, it's navigating how to, I'm not telling them to ditch their faith or their religion, but how can you stay in that ground that you are, but still show the amount of love these kids need? To your child, when your child comes to you, how can you show him that amount of love that he needs in that moment? And so, like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I can at least try my best to set up a platform that will hopefully create a better community, and I believe that it will. And I think that the church coming out to endorse this today is a huge step. And so I'm very optimistic about the future. This is an annual event. It'll be coming, you know, next year, the year after, and it's going to be bigger and better, and I'll have a better answer for that next year for you. But as of this year, that's the best answer that I can give you.
Dan Reynolds, lead singer for Imagine Dragons. Thank you so much for being part of Three Questions.
Thanks for having me.